I guess here to go. Hello there. Well, I have been watching James Bond movies all freaking day long. Because they've been on all day long. And I mean all day long. And I have a little bit of James Bond questions to ask you people there at home. The first one is, I want to know, and please post a comment on this here. I want to know who your favorite James Bond is. Whether it be George Lebezio, whatever the hell his name is, Roger Moore, Sean Connery, Pierce Bronson, or who was that other stick in the mud? What was his name? You know the guy. You know Joan. Seriously, I can't think of it right now. Well, let's just call him Mr. Jackass, because I like him the least. License to Kill. Oh, damn it. What the hell was his name? I just had it. I did it. Oh, man. Any other time I could tell you, but right now, George Lezebo, I think is the other guy's name is. Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton. I hate that motherfucker. The hell with him as James Bond. Jeez. What an asshole. Anyways. Oh, and Daniel Craig, the latest James Bond. Now, George Lebezio, whatever his name is, he was in like one James Bond movie. Her Majesty's Secret Service. That was it. Now Daniel Craig, he might be another one of those James Bond guys that's only a one-hit wonder, you know. So I want you to really do this. Really do this seriously. And please don't post any nasty things. If you don't like James Bond, don't watch this video. You know, the title's right up there, James Bond, you know. Don't watch the video. So, if you do like James Bond, and you don't have to be like a super huge James Bond fan, I just thought this would be fun for people to do, you know. Also, I kind of like, I'll tell you who I kind of like, okay? I liked Pierce Bronson, of course. I haven't really seen too much of Daniel Craig, but what I saw of him, I thought he was alright. I think he's going to do alright if he makes any more of them. Roger Moore. Roger Moore, he made it more of a comedy, a James Bond. He gave James Bond more of a sense of humor. Now, Sean Connery was the ideal James Bond in my book. You know, he kind of had it going on, you know, he wasn't all fun and games. He did joke around, which I think James Bond should have a sense of humor. But they weren't always so cheesy and cheap. He didn't try to get a cheap laugh, you know what I mean? Like, say for example, some guy gets electrocuted to death. And then James Bond turns to one of his people and says, "Well, that was shocking." You know, that's a terrible... There's been some terrible puns over the years. But we expect that from a James Bond movie over the years. And you know what, though? I think Daniel Craig, he made a few puns, but they weren't as cheesy as some of the past James Bonds have made it. And I think Roger Moore, more or less, was the cheesiest James Bond ever. I mean, seriously, he come up with puns that was off the wall, you know. Unlike Sean Connery, some of his puns were actually quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Sophisticated, you know? Intelligent intellect. Man, my face looks fat on camera. Huh. It doesn't do me justice at all. But anyways, tell me what you think. Who's your favorite James Bond? What's your favorite James Bond movie? I liked Octopussy, even though Roger Moore was in that one. I liked Dr. No. I liked GoldenEye. I liked pretty much all the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies, to be honest with you. Goldfinger, that was a good one. Tattooey was in that one. Here's an interesting thing for you. The guy that tortured Rambo in Rambo First Blood Part 2, he played a Russian in that movie. Years and years and years before that, he played an evil Russian in Octopussy, which, I don't know. I think there's something odd going on there, don't you? Anyway, just tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about James Bond. I'd be very interested in hearing it. Well, that's all I gotta say about this issue. Oh, and by the way, Q, the new one, R, I think his name is. The Q was the best. The best. This guy, I don't know. There wasn't a Q in the new one, which kind of makes sense since it was the very first, based on the very first book, Casino Royale, that Ian Fleming actually wrote. So, have a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll see you next time on YouTube.